Hi, good evening. Thank you for joining. We seem to be short in numbers as others are joining. So probably just allow a few minutes for others to join. So hi, I'm Trevor Smith. I'll be your facilitator today. And this Navigating Life series is an outreach of the St. Andrew Church of Christ. And just want to inform you that the session is being streamed live and that access to the information, whatever it is that we put out on a regular basis, will be available on our YouTube channel, Simply Christians JA, or on our website, Simply Christians, St. Andrew Church of Christ.org/media. Just doing a little bit of housekeeping behind here. That's why I'm a little distracted. But I'm with you now. Today we are looking at finding purpose and meaning in life, a journey of self-discovery. Before we start, however, I'd like to invite you to just bow with me. Let's have a word of prayer. Almighty God, we give you thanks that you continue to bless us. We thank you, Lord God, for your guidance and protection. We ask at this time that you would be with us in this session. Pray, Father, that whatever is shared would be in keeping with your word, and that people will be blessed by our interaction. Pray all of these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So, don't need a lengthy introduction, but again, I just want to inform you that this is an outreach of the St. Andrew Church of Christ. We worship at 77 Red Hills Road, and we worship at 9 a.m. on a Sunday, and we have our Sunday school Bible class immediately after. And then there is an online, using this very same link, Bible class on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Our worship services are also available online via YouTube or using this same Zoom link. So let's get going. So I want to ask a question, and that is, when you think of purpose, when someone says to you, what is your purpose? Or when we have a discussion around purpose, what is it that comes to mind for you? I must advise you that this, I know the numbers are small, but this session actually was structured for interaction. So I need to rely on you to share. So when you think of purpose, what is it that you what comes to mind? What comes to mind when you think of purpose? Anybody wants to share? Anybody? Let me just look and see if anybody has mic up or anything. Yes, people have mics. People have options. You could also type in the chat when you think of purpose, what is it that comes to mind? It's going to work a lot better if we have some dialogue as against my rambling through this session. Nothing yet. Maybe I'm impatient. I should allow people to think. So let me put something there. Is your purpose your career? Is that what it is that we think when we think about our purpose? Is it the job that we do, the career path that we want? What really is it? And the reason why I'm trying to get some feedback is that this is a very challenging discourse for me, especially because I'm not sure that I have found my purpose. So that's why I'm a little hesitant to rush forward. And, yeah. All right. So if you're joining now, just asking, when you think of purpose, what is it that comes to mind? All right. I don't want to spend the whole time waiting, so I'm going to actually push forward. So let me share then what it is that I'm proposing that we do with the time that we have this evening. And there is a tendency for people to think about the purpose in terms of a career, what is it that I want to do with my life, etc. In terms of a job, most like, but that's not the direction in which I want to go. As a matter of fact, I am looking at treading new and difficult ground in this discourse today. Let me tell you where I'm going. Normally, traditionally, I am heavily involved in the question of the why, as to why we do things and being clear about our why in life, which could be, I suppose, that is the equivalent of the purpose. Why am I doing this? Why? What is driving us? What is it that's moving, motivating us, inspiring us? Why do we do what it is that we do? So that also, if you look at if you look at the gurus online that do all of these motivational things, and they talk about having these affirmations, so you go through the days and you affirm, what it is that you have in prospect, what it is that you're working towards, your goals, you write them on your mirror. So there's a lot of focus on the why. So Althea says, how can I impact lives in a positive way? Okay, so that is your purpose, if I'm understanding it, right? Okay, good, thanks. So it's not necessarily a career. So thanks. As you're saying now, then there is a whole body of literature and coaching and tons, millions of, maybe billions of dollars spent on this idea of working towards goals, pushing yourself to achieve your objectives, yes? Um, thanks. Right. So what I want to share today as well, and as I said, this is new ground, so please, bear with me, is a companion piece for the why. Maybe I don't know if you want to call it the what, as we work towards our why. So here's the why. Althea says, let me go back and read it carefully again. How can I impact lives in a positive way, right? So that's the purpose. That's, if you want to call it, that's the why. Right? And so what I want to examine with you and invite you to go down the journey with me is to look at a companion piece that I'm calling, what is here, the meaning, I'm calling the what. So before I even open any slides, I just want to talk a little bit about it. So let us look at a scenario where, very simple, takes it out of life things. We want to get to Montego Bay, right? That's the objective. My objective is to get to Montego Bay. That's it. That's my purpose. My purpose in life is to get to Montego Bay. All right. And so I've been at pains in this course sometimes to say, sometimes with that objective, we get caught up into the hows of what are the hows and how we're going to get there. Are we going to go by plane? Are we going to go this? And so we get bogged down in details, and sometimes we lose sight of that goal, that, whatever it is that happens, we need to get to Montego Bay. All right, so that's it. Right. That's the why. It's clear. Everybody knows what it is that we're doing. Here is a piece now that I'm suggesting that could be useful, right? And discovering is the question of the what, the meaning, the things that happen before we actually get to Montego Bay. So I could find meaning in the fact that, whoa, once you get out of the city, man, and that greenery, oh, it's so refreshing. It's just, oh, the air, the quality of the air is so wonderful. I could also find meaning and get satisfaction from stopping on the way. I could look at Dunn's River Falls, put my feet in some white sand somewhere, get meaning, getting satisfaction, getting fulfillment on the way to Montego Bay. I could also find meaning in the experience that I had, because we have a black tire, a flat tire. That's what I'm looking for now. A flat tire, only to find that the spare is also flat. And here it is that a complete stranger comes and offers to take both the flat tire and the spare to a gas station 5 miles apart away and bring them back. And the trust, because I need to stay with my family, So that could be I could find meaning in the goodness of humanity and the value of trust and caring. So that's what I'm just saying to you. So on the way to Montego Bay, I'm finding meaning. I'm getting satisfaction. I'm getting fulfillment in my life. What's the relevance of that? The relevance of that is that sometimes when we focus on our purpose, and we should never vary from that. We are not there yet. And so we might be missing value. we might be missing value in the moment, meaning in the moment, satisfaction in the moment. So we should be able to then focus a lot more on the journey and on the satisfaction and on the benefits, all of this wonderful fulfillment that we can get on the way to getting to our destination. I hope that I have sort of shaped it, but I want to try use another analogy. So I want to build a dream house. I want to own, let us say I want to own my own home. And yeah, that's a purpose. I'm working hard and doing all of those things. I'm keeping in mind, yeah, I want a house. Right? What happens on the way? Is there the possibility of finding meaning, finding fulfillment, and the fact that I am meeting my savings targets? So I made a commitment that in order to do it, I need to put away so much. And oh, look at this. I have maintained that. I can feel good about myself. I can have some satisfaction from the fact that I am, in fact, reliable, responsible. Does this kind of make any sense to what I'm saying to you? Anybody can see where I'm going? I'm just saying to you that this is a companion piece. So while we hold our purpose dear, there is value also in identifying, seeking meaning on the way, because the benefit of that is that we are able then to, it's going to be helpful. We're going to get a lot more satisfaction out of life. It's going to reduce a lot of our stresses, because sometimes it is challenging to achieve our goals, worthy goals, worthy purpose, but there's a lot of questions we might have as to, am I really delivering? Alton says, positive impact on lives. Sometimes there is a question as to, is it sufficiently positive? Is there sufficient impact? And so you have those challenges. And the issue that I'm raising here now, or the companion piece, that is kind of new to me in a sense, in that I haven't really formulated it in this way in terms of pursuit. So the question would be then, yeah, okay, fine. I might not have impacted 100 lives, but man, did I enjoy the look at so-and-so's face when I did this for them? Or, this email that I got back from Mary, who says, oh my gosh, thank you so much. That is gratifying. And so that's what I'm saying. Can I find meaning and draw from my life those things while I'm on the way to my grand plan? Can I draw satisfaction from the reliability with which I'm pursuing my goals? That's a question for us. So let me look at some of them. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, Sherry. So yeah, so that's the tack that I want to sort of take us on. I don't know if you came wanting to say I don't know what to do with my, in life, and I want to, you were looking for a career guidance to say, this is what you should be, whether you should be a doctor, lawyer, candlestick maker. That's not what we're about today. Today we really want to look then at the twinning, the blending of the two things, so that we can achieve a lot more. But even as we are achieving, we're finding meaning, we're getting fulfillment along the journey. That's the tack. So we want to look at looking at purpose, and we're going to look at some a number of areas in which we can, identify purpose. And that should help you, by the way. And hopefully, that you will see one or more of those areas that you say, something, I'd like to take that on as well. But as we look at taking on the purpose, I want to also encourage us to see how we can link the meaning, a search for meaning. So this really, as we look at it, it's a journey of self-discovery. What it is we're going to be looking to either double down on our purpose that we have already, select one of those that we'll be sharing tonight, but also seeing how we can couple that with our search for meaning to achieve even greater impact. So basically, that was the introduction. I'm going to share what is our purpose. It's not a definition, but it's an understanding of purpose, an understanding of meaning. And then, of course, I want to blend them together and provide you with some summary. But please, as I said, this is really intended to be an interactive session. It's not a ramble from me. So I'm just asking if you can jump in. And so I want to thank Alfie already for stepping up to the plate and setting the example. Okay, so let me get some of these things out of my way. So what is our purpose? Right, as I said, this is a session of the St. Andrew outreach of the St. Andrew Church of Christ. So clearly we want to anchor all that we do on biblical principles. So as we then step out and explore these ideas, this concept of purpose and meaning, we want to look at what the scriptures have to say. And, this passage in Ecclesiastes is clear. So let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments. For some of them says this is the duty of man, but I like this version. I said this is man. So this is it. So we don't have to go any further. We could actually stop the discourse, because that's what we're supposed to do. That's the purpose. Fear God, keep his commandments. So this verse actually then suggests or indicates or tells us clearly that our ultimate purpose is to revere God and follow his commandments. And so the whole idea then of living a life that's aligned to divine principles and values is critical. Right? And so as we go into our discourse now, we look at other areas of applying this principle in this life. I want us to keep these foundation principles in mind as we look at seeking our. So, as I said, we will, this is a journey. It's not something that we can deal with tonight alone, but let us look at finding purpose and adding meaning to our life. Right? Okay, so talk about that already. So, purpose. When I discuss this whole question of purpose now, I need to get this. Zoom is good, but sometimes it's a little bit annoying. All right, so in terms of having stuff all over the place. So understanding purpose. So first of all, purpose, I'm trying to, this bit here is about distinguishing between purpose and meaning. It took me a little while. I'm not even sure that I'm there yet to make the distinction. All right, so purpose tends to be forward-looking. Yes, it's futuristic. It's what it is that we are aiming for. Yeah, so those are our goals and trajectory. That's more purpose. Right. So is that having some kind of a clear reason as to what it is that we want to achieve or how we want to contribute to life, what impact we want to have in the future. So that's basically what it is. Our purpose is forward-looking. It's also action-oriented. So usually your purpose should invite you to be intentional. It should invite you to take steps to make things happen. Yeah. With the objective of achieving specific goals. Yeah. So you have the vision, you have the mission, you have the goals, objectives, whatever you want to call them, you have plans, and that's what purpose is about. It is working towards some goal. Yeah. It is also, it tends to be, and I said tends to be because life is changing. So usually somebody's purpose involves others, involves the world, involves, the common good. Yeah, I'm saying usually, right? So that's normally the case, is that your purpose really shouldn't be just about you internal, what it is that you are seeking. Yeah. So that's the idea of purpose, that as I understand it. Also, purpose tends to be measurable, and that is where the challenge is, in that you can actually objectively, in many cases, if you set out to do it, or you can put measures in place to see how you're measuring up against your goals. Yeah, I can look at it and I can say, okay, fine, I'm in Spanish now, and then I'm in wherever next, so that I can see I am moving towards Montego Bay, and that I am X hours away, or I have covered X miles already. That's one of the things that we can understand about purpose. So that is where the problem is that in many instances, because of this number 4, this measurable aspect, it can be uncomfortable. Because we're kind of wondering, are we sufficiently far? Will we ever get there? Those are some of the, and especially now if we start to look at greater good and so on, it's very, very difficult to get to a place of complete satisfaction. That, yeah, I have nailed it. Bam. I have completed my purpose in life. That's one of the challenges that we have. That's why as we go along, I'm suggesting that getting this concept now of meaning and drawing meaning from our actions as we are going forward makes a difference, because then we can find fulfillment without actually being in a Montego Bay or being in the dream house. That's the core of what I'm suggesting. So what about meaning now? Right? So I want to get clarity so that we have these principles as we go forward. So meaning tends to be present-centered. It's a now. It's what's happening now. Yeah. So it is about not waiting until we get to our destination. It is about what is it that we can find value in. Is there significance? Is there fulfillment in the here and now, as against looking down the road? Yeah. So if my purpose is to get to heaven, is there anything that's going to happen in between now and then? However long that then is, that's the point. Yeah. And then it embraces feeling. So yeah, it's subjective, very subjective, in the sense that it is how satisfied I am with the experiences that I'm enjoying. Yeah. I mentioned going to the Montego Bay, we look out at the green and we feel, yeah, wonderful, I love this, the fresh air. Right? So it's really about just how we feel. Yeah? And it's not so much about our actions. So yeah, I want to impact lives positively. And yeah, I don't have to have a checklist of the 500 people that I'm targeting to impact. I can actually get great satisfaction from saying hello to somebody who needs a hello. Don't have to be any grand plans. All right. So the other thing about it then, because it is about feelings, it's clearly subjective. Yeah, it's a personal thing. And your contribution, your meaning might be totally different from somebody else. And people might even look down at you and say, that is what you're finding satisfaction. Yeah. You could be doing a lot more, man. Yeah, those kinds of things. But it is subjective. And it is about your peace of mind, your fulfillment, your ability to navigate through life and how you feel about how it is that you're navigating. And so it's not always measurable. All right. Okay. All right. So any comments now? Maybe I need to go back now and ask the question as to when we look then at purpose and so on, what's going on in your mind? Right? Anybody wants to share this as we go forward? Our next step is really to look at some of the areas. I have a number of them that I'm going to just go through where we match the two things. We look at the purpose from a biblical, spiritual perspective, and then we will also look at meaning. All right, so let's go into it and see. All right, so from a spiritual dimension, what is our purpose? Well, we looked at Ecclesiastes passage already, so this is what we want to look at here. So, from a spiritual perspective, our purpose then involves seeking a deeper connection with God and embracing reverence for God. So, in essence, it would mean living a life rooted in faith, prayer, and spiritual practices, that would nurture your soul and the soul of others, right? So finding purpose here actually means aligning our actions and our spiritual beliefs and deepening our relationship with God. So that could be it. That's it. Someone could just say, yeah, at this stage of my life, my purpose in life is just to have a closer relationship with God, yeah, and to help others to do the same. Good purpose. Nothing wrong with that. So how could we then blend meaning into that? Same thing, finding meaning in devotion and reverence. Right? So it's not that we feel that we have perfection and that we are the best Christians, but we could find meaning in our devotion. Yeah. It could be that there are passages of scripture, or there's a particular song and so on that really just reminds us of how awesome God is, and be amazed at the design that went into the design intelligence that went into creating life. Think about it. Think about the design, the whole question of life, concept of life, and being able to think that through and bring it to fruition, with all its nuances and details. That's mind-boggling. So those are some of the things that then we could have a sense of fulfillment rooted in our spirituality, our connection with God. As we go along, so we're not saying that we have achieved it, we're not saying that we are perfect, but there are things that we can enjoy on a day-to-day basis that brings us fulfillment because of the connection, because of our understanding of who God is and what serving Him means. Making sense, I hope, and this is going somewhere for somebody. All right. So again, if we're coming from a scriptural, spiritual point, then ethics are important. So if we want to look at the ethical dimension of purpose, what could that look like? So you want to be a pillar, a paragon of virtue, pillar of ethical living, then it would mean that you would have to be guided by moral principles and ethical values. And so it would mean that at every point, you would choose to reflect integrity, honesty, fairness in its widest context. Yeah. So that would mean also that you have to hold yourself accountable to be a person of integrity, person, that embraces honesty. And you also need to be fair-minded. You have to want to fight for justice. Yeah, we want justice, right? And also, how can you help to shape a more ethical and just world? Those are some of the things that will come from a purpose that is driven by an ethical understanding of what God would want of us. Okay, sorry. Was there a new message? Okay, I saw something in the chat now. All right, okay. So, next one would be, how do we find meaning then in moral and ethical living? So, that's one of the things that we look at. So, if we're going to be driven by, Ecclesiastes, God's command, then clearly part of what it could be is that we need to live a moral and ethical life. So we could find satisfaction from given options. We choose righteousness instead of the alternative. Given the temptation, let us say, Brother Grennan normally has one of them where the person is offering you an illegal discount because they want to cheat on the, we call it informal tax. So that's one of the things. They give them the option, say no. This is the policeman who wants a left and a right, and so you say no, is that right? I will go and pay in court. That's basically what it is. And then the feeling of being in sync, of being in harmony with godly principles. That's where you would get meaning. So yeah, you're not perfect, but today, the fact that I turned that down, the fact that I didn't, fall prey to this temptation, man, gives me satisfaction. So as I kneel to pray, I'm finding meaning in that. And I'm hoping that I can find more opportunities to embrace that. So that's the idea. The idea is as we go through, I'm going to get to some more, real life ones, but I hope that the concept of putting the two things together makes sense, and that it could inform some of our actions going forward. So what about purpose in terms of service? The New Testament indicates servanthood as one of the principles. At St. Andrew, we talk about saved to serve. This idea of a servant leader, a servant, that's what Christ said of himself, to be a servant. So that could be our purpose. How do we serve people? How do we actually serve others? Yeah, it's another word by the way to say, positive impact. It could be through our service. So the service dimension then is about extending kindness, compassion, and support to others, and a wide range of others, not just our inner circle. So what it would involve then would be dedicating time and resources to help those in need, whether through acts of charity or volunteering or mentoring, tutoring, or maybe just being a listening ear. These are purposes, by the way, if you're thinking about and you're not identifying your purpose, have not yet identified your purpose, these are purposes that you could look at. How could I be a servant to others? So finding purpose in service means maybe recognizing that there is value in people. In other words, you're not going to be snobbish. You're not going to look at just a certain set of people, but that all people have value and all people would have needs. And so how could you actively improve the lives of others? What kind of outreach? How can you impact persons who are not now being impacted? Some of you might know that we work with Melrose Infant and Primary School, where we go and we do the devotion, and we have a big plan for this term where we want to have an after school program where we want to look at their needs, developing a whole person, developing Christ ambassadors. So that's the idea now. How do most people are not normally reached? You might need a single family home, parents don't have time, etc. All of those challenges are there. So how do we then find purpose in service? Or are we just inward looking? That's a question. So meaning now, finding meaning in service. All right, I think I see another chat here. Seeking purpose in service is so important. Yes, Sherry, yes, we definitely. That's one of the missing pieces in our country right now, is that people are too inward looking and we're not really looking to finding purpose in service. But what about meaning for our lives? So again, the scriptures includes directives about how we should treat others and serve others. And so we can find meaning in simple acts of kindness, reaching out, helping somebody, just a simple act of compassion, right? And how can we make life better for somebody? And let me just share something. There's a lot of neuroscience going around as well that talks to you about the benefits to be in that kind of situation where we offer service. One of the things that they talk about actually is when you are in receipt of gratitude from someone, the impact that has on you. The fact that somebody comes back to say, thank you, I appreciate what it is that you've done. That is, by the way, that is a good reason, by the way, to say thanks for people to think so. Go back to somebody who's teachers that helped you to be where you are now. But yeah, that being in a position to receive gratitude, not only just to give, but also to receive, has powerful impact on our being. And so that's an idea now. So that we might not be perfect people, but the fact that we help this person, even just help a blind person across the road, simply, it doesn't have to be mega things. But if we live a life, and that is the piece that I'm trying to convey today, if we live a life where we look for meaning, fulfillment in these things, our life will be a lot happier. We'll be less stressed, and we will get a lot more fulfillment out of our lives. Yeah. Okay. Another question here. Can I say something? Please, I've been begging from the beginning of this program. Go ahead, Sherry.
I can't imagine it, Mr. Smith. You hear me clearly? Hearing me? No, not hearing me?
Sherry?
Hearing me? No?
I hope you're not speaking, but I'm not
I
hearing
am
you.
speaking.
I am hearing you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you are. Thank you. Mr. Smith, more for hear me too. Good evening, everyone.
That is not my...
Oh, hold on. The lady that responded just now, you still hearing me?
I'm not hearing.
I'm
Can
hearing.
somebody else speak? Let me just hear, make sure
Yes,
that is not
I'm
my
hearing
system
you.
that is...
I'm hearing
terrible.
as well. Me too.
Yikes. Look like it's my
Mr.
system.
Smith is yours.
Go again.
Hearing me now?
Hello?
Mr. Smith. Everybody else is hearing me except
Elise, can you
you.
speak for me? Let me hear if someone...
I'm hearing you, Brother Smith. Are you hearing me? Hello?
I'm hearing you though, but he's not hearing us.
Okay, so something must be
Wrong
wrong
on
on
his
his
end.
side.
Let me take something.
His mic is now closed.
Mr. Smith,
Yes. Okay, go
hearing
ahead.
now? You're hearing me now?
Okay, yes, go ahead.
And everybody is hearing me as well?
Yes, hearing.
All right, and good evening again, everyone. I hope I remember the point I want to make. Okay, so as you're on the note just now about the meaning.
You don't remember
finding
what the point was?
No, I remember. As you're on the point here, finding meaning of purpose, service, sorry, and also service to others. Was that what it was? Seeking purpose in service, right? I thought about something. You have pro-social behavior and you have altruism behavior. And just know, as we're looking at this, it talked about compassion, etc., for both meaning and also purpose. We know that in pro-social that people will do things for a reward and also not a reward. But altruism or altruist behavior, I don't know what I want to talk about. Then people no seek no reward. So I'm saying that to say this. As we're looking on all of this
They're
about
not
what we
seeking
do.
a reward. And, yeah.
Right.
So,
Altruism is not seeking a reward, but pro-social you can seek and not seek. Yes. You hear Mr.
Okay.
Smith? Right.
Yeah, I'm hearing. I think either way that would work. I'm seeking here, our primary focus on here now is not seeking a reward.
No,
That-
I know.
The benefit actually is on the satisfaction, the fulfillment that you feel inside. That's the focus. That is the meaning. I think if you well, the pro show, I haven't gone into depth, but my idea is that it's good if you're seeking reward, but that's almost like a job. It's almost like a career.
Yeah, but Mr. Smith, I
I'm
don't think you're
looking at
hearing me.
being out of life.
Not hearing me.
What is it that we can pull out
Not
that
hearing me.
gives us fulfillment? Yeah, in itself, the act itself of itself, there's no financial reward, there's no other benefit other than that I get value from this. This has significance for me. It might not have significance for anybody else, but this action meant something for me. And there's a feeling inside, because that's what I said, meaning is about feeling. Yeah? Does that answer the question? Oh, sorry. I thought it was a point. All right. Okay, go ahead. Continue. I'm not done.
But Mr. Smith, you jump right in. Because you're not hear me for true. You jumped right in. So me off right now. I was just trying to make a point in relation to that while meaning of service and purpose of service, it should not be anything that you're looking for in a reward. There's a help out of a heart of kindness and compassion, whatever you're saying. I wasn't doing any comparison or anything like that. Well, kind of. Not really. Not to what you're saying. But Mother says something like that. A while ago, me talk, me did a flow, and then you start talking. Well, you know me, I say still. And I hope the other person understands what I'm saying. It should not be about a pro-social or include both reward and not reward, but altruism, which is no reward at all. If me I make my point clear. Yeah. Yes?
Keep up the volume for me. Sometimes you're dropping
Me no know.
keep up the volume.
Me no know. I'm a computer. Me don't know laptop. All right. But I open to get it. All right. How I with my laptop. But I hope you got it though, and everybody has got it as well. I hope so.
All right. Explain the pro-social concept a little bit more for me.
Okay, so the hold on, let me see if I can, because you say you're not here. Me don't know if I do with this, Hold on, let me see if I can something there. Turn up or something. That and I think it's up, Oh, all right, hold on there. Hear me better? Guys, anybody hear me better? No?
I don't have a problem hearing you.
Okay, so Mr. Smith, a year ahead, Me don't know what else to do. Okay, so I was saying, For you, Mr. Smith, are you hearing me clear now?
Yes, go ahead. Keep up
Okay,
the
so
volume.
I'm doing that. I'm saying for the pro-social behavior, right? It entails somebody who requires a reward or does not require a reward, right? Hearing that clear, Mr. Smith? And then I also,
The person requires a reward.
and not is, but it includes both. Some persons don't and some persons do require a reward, right?
Okay.
And altruism now, or altruistic behavior, you don't require any reward at all. So
Okay.
the point I was trying to make is this: while we're finding meaning in purpose, right? And also seeking purpose in service, or sorry, I'm not finding meaning in service, I'm sorry, and also seeking purpose in service. What we need to ensure that we display or manifest is altruism, right? Which you're not expecting any reward. So while we're going to be the compassionate person or the serving persons or being kind, etc., to ensure, because it has to do with purpose. And if you know what your purpose is, right, in relation to that, right, then you know, so you're now going to go expect anything. I mean, if that makes sense to you. Am I making sense, guys? Everybody, Mr. Smith, everybody?
It makes sense to me. I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know.
Right. Okay, right.
You can
So
go
that's basically the idea. The idea is to have your purpose. It's not necessary. I thought at the beginning we were making a distinction between whether this is a question of is my purpose my career, is my purpose, how it is I'm going to earn income. That's not where we're going. And so what you're saying there is the direction. The direction is what it is that we are doing. And we're going to do it whether there's reward or not. I mean, in terms of, when you say reward, you're talking financial reward. But there is reward in terms of intrinsic reward. We were saying, okay, fine. I feel, I have, this is significant for me. I feel fulfilled when this happens. And so these are some of the things that we would come from, which basically then would embrace altruism. Yeah.
Brother
All right,
Smith.
thanks for the input. All
Brother
right.
Smith. Brother
The
Smith.
other ones that I want to look at, and please, at any point in time, come. I desperately need your input.
Brother Smith.
Yes, go
Thank
ahead,
you.
sister.
You hearing me? Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if
Yes.
yeah, okay. I don't like the whole heap of terms and all that sort of thing. And what is your purpose? I don't go, overall, the overarching purpose for my life is to please God. And everything else falls under that. So I don't think about what I'm going to get from it or that sort of thing. Probably it has to do with my background, how I grew up. Service was part of our growing up. You look out for the weaklings, the elderly, and so forth. You don't look for anything to get anything. You just serve. And so when I see a need or somebody that I need assistance, I just go and help. And I don't max out what it's meaning for me or anything. Probably there's something that I need to do, but I just serve. I remember someone that I helped in primary school, and about 30 years after that, the person came back and said, thank you. And said, wait, what are you thanking me for? I helped him to read. I didn't even remember that. And I think for me, that is how I go about my life. It is just part of my attitude. So it comes natural to me. So I don't say this is the meaning. I don't do that. Probably I do it and it's subconsciously, but consciously I don't make any note of it.
Okay. All right. I hear it. No problem with that as well. So let me publish it then where it is going. It is not So we're not looking for financial reward, we're not even looking for thanks, etc. However, the discussion could be, what is drive? I don't know how to put this now. This is challenging. What is so the purpose is there. We have to serve. There's no problem with that. We just know it and we do it. And in the moment when we are reaching out, we're not thinking, oh, am I going to be feeling fulfilled? Is this going to make me feel special? I don't see that is the direction that meaning would come. Certainly that's not where I am going with this. However, even as we go, we want to please God, etc. There might be moments when we are in a low state, we're not always up and ready, etc. We could draw on a hymn. We can draw on a passage of scripture. We can get into a prayer with God that provides us with buoyancy in that moment, helps us to get out of our dark spot, etc. So those are the things that I'm talking about, that I am calling added meaning. The fact that we can, in fact, go to a place where, under the umbrella of serving God, there are these kinds of things that help us to navigate through life more successfully, less stressfully, without depression, etc. That's where I'm going. So it is now not to say that I see an old lady that wanted to cross the road, and if I go and take her across the road, I'm going to feel good about myself, so let me go and do it. That's wanting reward. But what I'm saying, though, is that if we do things that are pleasing to God, things will come that will help us to say, okay, fine. There is benefit. I don't call it, because it might sound as if you're doing it for that. I'm not saying it's a quid pro quo, that you're going to do this because of that. But there is fulfillment from being a servant, from pleasing God. Maybe I've tied myself in that written not there, but there's a little nuance there that, as against, is not doing the thing in order to feel fulfilled. Yeah. But we cannot escape the fact that there is fulfillment. There is some benefit. There's some significance in our service. Can that work, Sister Monica? So I'm not saying we're gonna do this because we're gonna do it. We want to get the praise. But as we move along, we can be examples to others, etc. And you raise the point that somebody could come back years after say, I helped. So you're not going to go home now and put that other placard to say, okay, fine, I helped this person, etc. But making contributions has significance. And somehow, whether it is subconsciously or consciously, those are the kinds of things that somebody could say to you, okay, fine, but why you continue to serve God? Why you want to please God? It's not just because you want to go to heaven. That's what I'm trying to say. It is also because of the impact that you can have in this life, in this time. And not please. It's a very delicate balance, but I hope that I'm getting the message across, that it is really not doing because of, but at the same time, it is not cutting off ourselves from the reality that what we're doing is significant, and that what we are doing has meaning, and that what we are doing does impact lives. And that by recognizing those things, we are in a better position psychologically, spiritually, in every kind of way. Did you say should not do things in order to feel fulfilled? I'm saying we're not going out now to say, well, let me just cross the road now, because if I help the lady cross the road, I'm going to feel fulfilled. That in the moment you're not thinking like that. But our actions, of course, would help us to feel fulfilled and to feel that we're making a contribution. Those things are important. Yeah? So it's not sure it doesn't make very clear. It is not that I'm actually going to look out for things now to say, well, let me do this little thing now because there is going to be a fulfillment reward. It is not that. It's an overarching approach to say, yes, I want to impact lives. I want to serve God. Those are the overarching things. And in the moment, that driving that high overarching purpose causes you to do things that have significance, that will be fulfillment. Delicate, yeah. All right. All right. I knew this would be a challenging thing. All right. God also wants us to be our best version of ourselves. So we should also look then of seeking purpose in our personal development. And it's not just spiritual, but generally, we should be our best selves. And so one purpose in life could be a journey of self-improvement, learning, and growth. You know, and so we could embrace challenges, expand our knowledge, and really try to be the best that we can be. God blesses us with grace and gives us talents. Let us put the talents to good use. So that's one purpose. Right? Number of purposes that we have here so far. But how do we find meaning in personal growth? So out of the profound appreciation God has blessed us so richly, giving us many talents, we can find meaning in putting those talents to use. Yeah. Whether we can be in a position where we can teach somebody to read, you know, that's helpful. We can teach people about God. You know, we can actually improve our own spiritual development. Those are factors that are there, that are available to us. We can also think about things like, how do we help people to, or show love, not help anybody, show love, embracing like justice again and compassion. And what about our work in His kingdom and enhancement of the greater good? Make our society better, make people better. Yeah. So those are some of the things that we could do in terms of finding meaning, right, as we go forward. All right. These are more now getting into our regular daily challenges, our life's challenges in this life only. All right. So career. That might be a purpose that you want to be a CEO. I remember somebody that we worked with as a client said that her objective was to be a CEO. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So what is it in terms of your career? Do you have a vision as to where you want to end up? You want to be doctor, lawyer, candlestick maker, or sort of something. What's the position on that? Is part of your purpose to impact, whether it is the company that you're working with, impact the community. You want to be recognized as an expert in your field, be a published expert. Those are some of the things that you can consider that you might see areas. And Sister was mentioned, going off to study in a unique area because there's a need. There's nobody's doing that. And so she wants to go and study in order to bring that to the table. That's a healthy purpose. So those are some of the things that we can think about. As you can see, so far we have looked at many avenues where we can find purpose in this life. So let us look also more, how do we find meaning in pursuit of career or personal development? And it could be then, let us say, well, yeah, I want to be this expert. I want to be this authority in a particular area. You might not be there, but you could get benefit from maybe saying, okay, fine. At least I wrote an article. I had this publication, in a journal of note, right? And or could it could be that part of your career development. Let us say you wanted to develop content, that you just feel satisfied, get satisfaction from some of the tasks that you are completing. Yeah. So when you go to work, you're actually quite happy because the things that you are doing bring satisfaction to you. So you don't have to be the CEO right now in order to get meaning from the job. You can see as part of the growth, you see the trajectory. You've got the 3 promotions you're getting, and you're lining up for the next. So you can see some trajectory. That's all I'm saying is that don't just let us look at the end destination and be concerned that we're not quite there. There is value in finding meaning in the journey. Good for our health, mental health, parental and family purpose. So yeah, one vision, and this is part of the scriptures is that God wants us to have these families that He prescribed. So you might want to have this nuclear family, the idea that you want to have a stable home, you want to raise children that are God-fearing and that can contribute to society and can navigate effectively through life. That's a solid purpose. Yes. That the family is well knit, can communicate, can cope with life, can be an example to others, can be supportive of others. Those kinds of things. That's a healthy thing. But let us say you're single now, you're not there yet. What happens? Do you just say, okay, fine, I don't have this nuclear family. What happens in the meantime? I'm saying that on that journey, you could find fulfillment, that you are able to communicate effectively with potential partners. You see others, children, etc., that you could provide guidance, support, love, care. All of those kind of things can happen on the way to having your own family, on the way to being in charge, if you want to call it that, of your own nuclear unit. That's the kind of meaning that I'm saying, is that there are, maybe it's a babysitting. You could be willing to do some of that kind of work, which would then help you to be in a position to do well when you have your own family. But in the interim, you're also supporting others. Yeah. All right. Meaning in the family and parental context. What you want to do is to be in a place where you have this good, solid connection. I think that there are moments that you cherish. You can, look back maybe decades or, where there was something special about what was happening with the family. Yeah. Also, you can draw meaning from the fact that you know that you are loved, and you know that you are loving, others, that there is a special bond. Yeah. And so also you can get satisfaction from all the efforts, all the things that you do. Again, you're not thinking, that I'm going to do this because I want some reward. But it just comes naturally. There is a flow of nurture, a flow of kindness, a flow of love, a bond that comes. So those are some of the things that I think we could track mentally, if you want, or look back on as we are going forward to say, well, okay, yeah, that was neat. I enjoyed that. That was helpful. Yeah. Okay, I'm so grateful that so and so did that. That was special. Those kind of things are not harmful, I can tell you, to our psychology, to what's happening inside of us, because sometimes life is challenging. And we need to have those moments that we can look to and embrace to make a difference in how we navigate through life. Yeah, it's easy to be overrun by life's difficulties. And when we can look to these healthy moments and cherish them, that helps. Helps us on our journey. What about our community and social purpose? Yeah. Again, we are part of a community. Like as I said, St. Andrew has this seed to serve. What kind of impact are we having on the community outside of ourselves? Are we making a difference? Whether it is a charitable cause or some kind of campaign for social justice, some kind of empowerment issue, some kind of whether we want to educate. How can we help people to behave better? How can we help people to be more united in a community? Yeah? That's something that could be a powerful purpose. And I'm just suggesting, for example, in this Jamaican context, that's a missing piece. More work needs to be done to see if we can bring back people to what we would call civilization, because as it stands right now, believe me, there are a lot of people falling outside of behaving in ways that we wouldn't say are ideal. And we need to see how we can foster a situation in which people behave in more civilized ways. And so again, our meaning would be that when we reach out, when we get some of that the impact, when we can see the impact. Talk about St. Andrew, when we had reached out to these people from a particular community, the challenge is that when they came, believe me, had to see many of them, baptized believers active in the church now. So that is significant. That provides us with some kind of encouragement, I would say as well. That, yeah, our work is not in vain. There is satisfaction. We can say, hey, brother, so-and-so, or here, sister, so-and-so. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Let's add it. Yeah, we're serving. Yes, we're pleasing. And as a result of our serving and as our pleasing, we can say, hey, brother, hey, sister. And we can actually support them and get them to move forward in life. That's the government, what I'm trying to do here. And then finally, we want to look at this whole question then of the personal growth. I think we kind of covered this one already. And fulfillment, that we try to be our best self. And as we strive, we can get meaning from that feeling of harmony inside, of achievement that we have got through our personal goals, and we're getting some joy along the journey in this time. We're not at the destination, we're not at Montego Bay, but we have our toes in some white sand at Ocho Rios, on the way, and that brings us satisfaction. All right, so question, comments, oh, sorry, environment. I can't leave that out. This is our planet is really in danger right now. So some of the things that we have to look at then is also that issue of a purpose to try to be environmentally responsible. It is even just water, right? Okay, so Alta says, I'm serving others and striving to impact lives, not for any personal rewards, but to feel fulfilled in that I am ultimately pleasing God and doing His will. Refresh others, and so you will be refreshed. Amen. That's it. Not getting any reward, but at the same time, as you say here, though, is that you feel fulfilled. And that's what we're looking at. Right? So there's significance in what it is that you're doing. Yeah. And you feel fulfilled in that you're pleasing God, which is part of the purpose as well. Yeah. Hopefully, it's captured that correctly. So yeah, environment is the other area that we need to have purpose around. It is even the question of, I've been thinking about it, amount of water that I use to bathe now. And I'm just saying, when we have, lock off, like, hurricane or whatever it is, and you bathe with one little bottle. And so maybe that's one of the things that we look at and then multiply that across so many people. Yeah, those are some of the things. How are we thinking about our environment, and how can we find purpose, and also how can we find meaning in issues related to sustainability of the planet and issues of environment. So I'm opening the door for questions and input. So basically, we want to look at this expansion of Ecclesiastes that talks about our duty, basically, which is to serve God, obey, keep the commandments, right? So there, these other dimensions of purpose and meaning is what I wanted to look at, and to suggest that as we have our purpose, there is some value, some benefit from also being in a position to find significance in the journey, find fulfillment in the journey, and not just be in a position where we're always future looking, always in the future, always aspiring to be in a place without actually being in the here and now and seeing the significance of what it is that we're doing and drawing fulfillment from the things that we do in the here and now, even though we might not be exactly where we want to be. And so all of these factors are there in terms of our spiritual development, ethical behavior, being, focus on being servants. Right? Our development is important, using God's talents, and we want to look at the planet, the whole issue of sustainability, and just how we can serve, how we can live peacefully with others. So questions, comments, suggestions? You can just mic up. You don't have to go through the formality of chat. Okay, I'll do that chat. Okay, Sherry, thank you very much. All right. Very challenging session. Anybody has any questions, comments?
Brother Smith, are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yes, I was just I just wanted to agree with what Monica had said earlier, you know, that a lot of what you have presented, these are things that we have been taught, you know, so they're sort of ingrained in us. I think the challenge comes when we are now dealing with a totally different generation where they are not, you know, aware of all of these things. And so, you know, just as you were doing the presentation, I'm thinking how important it is to have this information, you know, ready for teachers in schools, you know, because this is what they really need to be thinking about, because the parents of today, those very, very young ones, practically children having children, they are not providing any of this sort of thing for them to, you know, to have in their lives. And so I was just thinking of your presentation as something really very good that, you know, teachers have been doing this with students and, you know, bringing them to a certain number of some of these realizations. I was also thinking about what you said about the environment as well, because I find that in many circles and or rather in many churches, they don't stress the importance of the environment and how interconnected we are with the environment, and you know, the importance of trying to preserve it and really take care of it. So I think it's really very good that you did this, and for us to take it to the younger children, you know, it's really very good. I like the idea too of the work with the Melrose children, that some of this can be, you know, some of this is, you know, very, very good information that, you know, we can impart to them. It's all part of the pillars of character as well. And when you started, I said to myself, well, you began with Ecclesiastes, but I was thinking of those persons who might not have had who don't have a religious background to be able to fall back on this. I suppose we could always teach them the moral and ethical purpose and meaning for life, and hopefully along the way, you know, they will come to a realization of, you know, what it really means to be spiritually connected to God. So those are just some things that I was just thinking about, and I just want to say thanks very much for your presentation.
Thanks, Sister Elise. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Brother Smith,
yeah, go ahead, Sister Monica.
when you talk about the environment, my thoughts go to our children that we have that comes with us in the Sunday school. And I find that they just litter. And then you have one person almost every Sunday have to say, put that in the bag, put that there, put that there. I think we need to incorporate in our Sunday school some of the things that you presented this evening. So it's not just that to know what are the steps of salvation. We give them a wholesome picture so that they know that the garbage bin is there. We take care of our environment and we put it in there. We know that we don't beat up on each other. We don't take away the sandwich that one person gets because we are thinking of, we wouldn't like that to happen to us. And they might be even more hungry than we are. So I think it's something that we can incorporate in our Sunday school program.
Good idea. Good idea. The point I want to say about that is that remember the group before. It wasn't all hunky-dory either, but gradually over time. Yeah.
Yeah,
but I think there needs to be an intentional process, as you're saying there now. That it can be structured now. Not that we have learned from the previous group, yeah, we can be more structured in terms of taking these through. Yeah. I see something in the chat. All right, Sister Elise, I totally agree with you. Yeah, there are challenges out there. So our purpose, we have many opportunities to be a purpose-driven group, our purpose-driven individuals. Many ways in which we can add value and add meaning to our lives. So, anybody else? We still have a couple minutes. We could open. I hope this adds some value. By the way, if you want the presentation, you can just send me an email. Probably the easiest email is iitjam@gmail. So iitjam@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to send the presentation if you want. Bear in mind that all of this is being stored. I don't want to call it stored, but sorry, made available on YouTube. So our YouTube channel is Simply Christians JA. Right. It's also on Facebook, same thing, Simply Christians JA. Or you can go to our website, standardchurchofchrist.org/media, and content is there. I want to invite you to worship with us at 77 Redwoods Road. We worship at 9 a.m. on Sundays. We have a midweek Bible class at Tuesdays at 6:30 using the very same link. And the worship services are also available online, on YouTube, and on Zoom using the same Zoom link. Thank you. Love Life continues first Saturday in each month. We also have a grief therapy session that takes place on the last Saturday in each month, and it's also done online using the same Zoom link. Thank you for your time. May God continue to bless you.